Hello everybody. Let me give everybody a few minutes to log on. This is Michael Snell of Michael Snell Bespoke, and I'm joining you live here from the gloomy town of Columbia, South Carolina. We're having a bit of rain here today, so give everybody a few seconds to come on. By chance, if you have not checked out my live videos or you're missing the live videos thus far, please, there's a link right above you, below, below, over there somewhere. There's a link to my YouTube channel which will allow you to get access to all of my videos that I've created here on Facebook Live, as well as other videos that I've created. Okay? So, without any further ado, as they say, welcome everybody. Welcome. If you're joining me, please check in where you're joining me from. Let me know what city, what state, what country you're checking in from. Please remember to invite others to join us. We are a community here of others sharing, gaining knowledge, sharing knowledge. So let's continue to do so as we build what we're building here. Today's topic. Going right into today's topic because I know everybody's busy. Today's topic is going to be how to buy the best tie for you. I'm going to repeat, how to buy the best tie for you. And I'm talking about neckties, gentlemen. Not we could talk about bow ties. We could talk about different types of fabric. But today, specifically, I want to talk about the silk necktie. I am offering silk neckties on my website. My website is, I'll post that later, but I try to focus on silk because silk has been known as some of the best quality fabric that we have right now. If you're not aware that silk is primarily produced in China. It's a protein based fabric that's created by a worm. Yes. So we're walking around with most of the time with our ties and the silk garments or the beds we sleep on. They're made out of worms. A worm creates it for the most part. All right, jumping right in. I'm going to give you two or three guides on how to spot the perfect silk tie. There are a lot of ties out there. They're polyester, they're cotton, they're blend. You have so many type of fabric that you can make ties out of. Now, I haven't seen gentlemen making ties out of metal. So there are all types of fabrics out there that you can make ties out of. But today, particularly, I want to focus in on the silk necktie. One of the things I want you to look at when you're looking at a silk necktie is the construction. All right, looking at the construction, we'll look at the tie itself. Again, I am now with my accessory lines. I am producing or have my own private line of silk ties that are available on my website. But you look at the construction. You want to look at the stitching. You want to look at the inner lining. What I want you to do is if you have a moment now, run and grab one of your neckties out of your closet. And then when you get back, give me some thumbs up, say yay, whatever. Let me know you're back in, you have your tie in hand, so we can proceed forward. I'm sorry that I didn't go live on one. There's one place I didn't go live on, so they're a little behind. I'm sorry. This monitor over here, checking in. I'm sorry. I am live. I know people have been inboxing me, asking me, am I going live today? Yes, I'm live. You missed a few seconds of the video. Human error. I did not click on this particular screen to start video. My apologies. But today's topic, we're talking about how to buy the best necktie for you, and we're just started on the construction. So I asked the gentleman in the audience to run out and grab a necktie so we can kind of like walk through this process. I'm only going to keep everybody online anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes as usual, and then we'll drop off, we go off and do our great things. All right, but go back. When you look at a silk necktie, you want to look at the stitching. You also want to look at the inner lining. I know you can't see the inner lining unless you disassemble the tie, the necktie, but you want to see how it falls on your hand. I have an example of a tie that my partner and I were messing around with. It doesn't have a label or anything in it. It was just a tie that we, was sampling to see before we started going into production. So this is, I'm going to use this for an example. So if you look at the tie, okay, here's the tie. All right, you can see how it's made. I want to talk about the different parts of the tie. Yes, there are 3 parts to the tie, but once you look at the tie, you want to see how the tie falls on your hand. You see the tie falls pretty well. I'm sorry, this tie right here has been wrinkled right now because I've used it getting ready for this particular presentation. I've used it a couple of times, so the silk hasn't fallen back into its natural state yet. So I'm apologizing for this tie. This is one of our test ties that we use, my partner and I. But if you look at how it falls, so you want to put the tie over your hand, see how the tie falls. So if the tie falls, the silk tie falls like it's supposed to, you know that it's a good quality silk tie. And the structure of the tie is sound. So it should naturally, the tie should naturally fall in its natural state without you doing anything to coerce it or force it to its natural state. It does have, if it does not do that, if the tie does not fall in that manner, a nice fall, a nice clean look, you know that it's probably going to be flimsy. If it feels flimsy, it's probably made of cheap fabric. They're out there. Some of the ties that say they're silk, they're not silk, and then some of the inner workings and the construction of the tie is probably not up to standard. But we're going to keep going on. So now you want to also look at the loose stitching. If you see this stitching here, I know it may be hard for some of you to see. There's some loose stitching that we did here. The loose stitching is called a slip knot stitch. This allows the tie to be twisted and turned into different knots, and eventually once you take it out of that knot, it allows it to fall back into its natural state. So that's called the slip knot stitching. So when we do our ties at Michael Snow Bespoke, we have what we call a slip knot stitching, which you can see here, you can see it here, and you can see it here. So that's what you're looking at on your tie. So now the fabric the fabric of the tie will always stay intact. So when you were using that slip knot stitching, like I said, it allows the tie to be contorted into different states, putting in all these crazy knots they come up with now, and then it'll eventually end up falling back into its natural state. But on the back side of the tie, you want to look at this tab here. This is what we call a stay. It stays intact. It's what we call what was it called? The name of it again? Oh man, name slips me right now. Tie bar. Yes. So this will hold the fabric in place. So this is normally when you're looking at a high-end fabric tie or high-end tie, you see a piece of cloth, or it will probably end up being some stitching there. This is used to hold the tie together. All right. I'm sorry I had a brain dump just now. Forgot the term. But unlike some people, my videos are live. So if you see a mistake happen, it's a mistake. It's human nature. I'm no professional at all. What I'm doing, I study what I present, and I present it to you. Okay. So it's called the tie tack. Is what it's called, the tack, T-A-C-K, T-A-C-K. That is what we use to hold the tie together. Now, the next thing you want to look at when you're looking for a nice quality made tie, you want to look at the fabric. All right, like I said earlier, fabric. I'm going to talk about a silk tie because, as I specified earlier, silk is primarily made in China. Yes, there are other countries that make silk now, like United States, Thailand, a couple other countries that are making silk now. But if you're looking at it, most, I'm going to say 90% or higher of all the silk we use in America or we use in the world comes from China. So China still reigns supreme when it comes to silk. At one time, if you were trying to, steal silk and take it out of China, you'd probably be, executed or put in jail for the rest of your life. But that's a different subject. So now, silk, another thing you want to do with your silk ties, you want to avoid heat. A lot of people would take a silk tie, and they'll it kind of it may not fall the way you want to fall because you haven't when I finish tying a tie or wearing a tie out, I take it out of the knot, put it back into its holder. I have a tie holder where it holds my ties, and then I'll leave it there and I'll allow it to fall back into its natural state. But if you're a guy with a small amount of ties and you're wearing a tie constantly over and over and over again, or you're trying to cheat by not untying the tie, you tied that perfect knot and you don't want to untie it again, and all of a sudden something happens. A kid comes into the room and starts playing with your tie and pulls it out of the knot. Now you have to wear that tie again. Again, now you minimal ties, so you have a lot of ties to choose from, but you have to wear that particular tie again. And all of a sudden that tie is wrinkled. You can't get it tied back to its original state, but now you have to tie the tie again. But now when you try to tie it again, it's wrinkled. You're not able to get it back exactly how you had it. So what you try to do, you're going to try to go and put an iron on it. You're going to go and try to do, come up with all these different ideas of how to tie a tie. I would say that's probably going to be a detriment to your tie. Silk ties, have a very high potential of decreasing its elasticity and its structure when you apply heat and water to it. That's one of the disadvantages of silk ties. They don't respond well to heat or water. Also, silk ties are somewhat reluctant to stains. I'm not saying if you spill a bottle of wine on a silk tie that it's not going to stain it, but the way that the silk is woven, it doesn't allow, it allows a tie to avoid the majority of the stains that another type of fabric tie would absorb. So it kind of like repels most of the things that happen to ties. So those are some of the things I want to bring up to you. So avoid heat with your silk ties, and avoid water. So if you ever, I think a couple episodes ago I talked about how you can tell an inexpensive suit. You put some heat to it, put steam in it, and you kind of see those waffles. That's probably the same thing you're going to see with with the tie. Also, inside of the tie, they should use wool. I know a lot of people use like wool blend, wool cotton, but my company will use wool, and the reason why we use wool, it allows a tie to to come back. If you see what I'm doing now, the tie, I'm testing the tensile strength of the tie, making sure that it pops back in the state. Again, I apologize for this tie. This is not a tie that I would walk around with, because this is a tie that my partner and I use to create our ties. We use this to sample labels. We use this to sample different things. So this is just a tie I'm using for demonstration purposes only. So now when your silk tie is usually goes back, like I said, when you do something to it, like you worn it, you've taken it off, you put it back in its holder. Now it'll eventually fall back into its natural state. So I've talked on two of the key topics about ties. I talked about the construction of the tie, and I also talked about the selection of the fabric. There are a lot of different silks out there. You have high-end silk and you have some low-end silk. What the silk you're looking for, you want to look for silk that gives a little, that elasticity, but it also is strong enough to hold up to you tying your tie in several different types of knots. So if you want to go the cheap route, go into a big box store, grab a tie, walk out and run with it, that's your decision. That's a reflection on you, not I. I'm here to provide you with information on how to purchase the best tie, a nice quality tie that's going to last you for long periods of time, and you won't have to worry about, putting it on and it looks like you just took it out of a container, which I did with this one. I took it out of our holder. So that's why it's kind of folded like this. So now, I want to make a note here. You should, when you're looking at a tie, a good way to tell if a tie is made of quality, you want to look at how the cut. The cut of a quality made tie is going to be called a bias cut. A bias cut. A bias cut is where it is cut in a 45-degree angle. The fabric is cut in a 45-degree angle, and it allows the tie to fall naturally on around your neck. So it lays down. So you can tell a tie that hasn't been cut properly is you'll see it wants to turn and twist when you have it on. It never wants to stay in place. It's going to always kind of try to move on you. Though that is going to be a tie not made of good standard. So now, your tie. I said earlier that your tie is made has 3 parts to it. The 3 parts of the tie is going to be the tail, the gusset, and you're going to have the blade. The blade is the larger part of the tie. The gusset, you'll find this is the part that goes around your neck. You'll see this pattern. You know, it looks like the ties. You know, whoever made the tie got confused, but no, it was done this way on purpose. And then you have the tail, which is the small end of the tie. So when you're looking at your tie from the inside out, again, I can use this tie because this is a tie that we use for. But if you look inside of this tie, you can see the cotton that we put inside of it. You also see silk on the tip here. That's when you know that if a person paid enough attention to take the time to put silk, which nobody won't see this now. If you're looking at a tie, you have the tie on, nobody's going to see the inside of your tie here. Only you're going to see this. But if a company takes the detail to do silk on the blade and silk on the tail, that lets you know that they mean what they're doing. They are a company that stands behind their product. So now that we've gone through this quick tutorial, of course we can talk more about another conversation about the maintenance of a tie, the different types of ties out there. We can go through a whole entourage of different things when it comes to ties. But it's imperatively important that when you're out there and you're selecting, you're spending your hard-earned money, you need to be a wise consumer when you're spending your money. So when you're purchasing a tie, understand that it's important for you to choose the best tie for you. That is extremely important. So I'm not saying you have to go out and spend $70, $80, $100, $200 on a tie. I'm not. I'm here to provide you with the necessary tools to make you an educated consumer when you go out to make your purchase, whether you buy your tie from me or you buy your tie from wherever. Now, I'm going to leave you with a tidbit of information. I've seen a lot of gentlemen post photos. They're using tie bars. This is what I have on a tie bar. All right, you're posting photos with tie bars, and I've seen them worn incorrectly on so many photos. All right, if you take your shirt, your shirt should have 3 buttons. The button around your neck, you're going to have another button, which is about right here, slightly down, and you have a 3rd button. Your tie bar should never go beyond, your tie bar should be between the 2nd and 3rd button. Not too high that it sits up here close to your neck, but you want to put it somewhere in between the 2nd and 3rd button. So if I was to close my jacket as so, I know I shouldn't do this because I'm sitting down, but if I was to close my jacket as so, you will see how the tie bar falls directly across my lapel, and you see my pocket here, it lines up with my pocket somewhat. So this is the appropriate way. So if you want to, I'm not saying, well, based on who makes your suit, it will determine how far your pocket will fall down on, in relation to your lapel. But the way I make my suits, mine line up like this. So even if I'm punch drunk or crazy or whatever it is, on my suits, and I can't feel the 2nd or 3rd button, I know that the top of my button, top of my pocket, my breast pocket, is where my tie bar should fall, somewhere in that area. So now, I said something a few seconds ago about sitting and unbuttoning your jacket. When you're sitting down, you should always unbutton your jacket, gentlemen. When you stand up, the first thing you should do is button up your button. And another pet peeve I've seen around here, and I'm gonna put whoever, and there's a lot of people that follows me that follow me on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you follow me. You'll understand that I'm completely transparent, and and I try my best to give you the truth at all times. And no, I shouldn't say I try my best. I give you the truth at all times. I've seen a lot of men walk around with that little tag right here. Okay, that's letting us know. Okay, yes, you went out and you bought a suit, and it's made by brand X, brand Y, brand Z, whatever the brand is. you're not supposed to wear that tab around, gentlemen. When you purchase a suit, please, of course, bespoke suits, you want to have a tab on it anyway. But when you purchase your suit, please remove that tab on the outside of who that brand maker is. Because what you're really doing, you're walking around, number one, you're looking like you're not informed. Number two, you're advertising for the brand, which you shouldn't. Because if you are comfortable in the suit that you have on, why would you be advertising the brand anyway? Because the suit's made for you, regardless. So, please remove that tab. Please, 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 please. If you buy a suit from a box store and it has a name on it and it comes with a tab on the outside, please remove it. As well as if you put on a jacket and it has the tabs, you have a single vent or double vent, and it has the tabs holding those, it has some thread holding those together, please remove that as well. I'm sorry. I'm not the know-it-all, but these are some of the things that that I found that drives most people in my world crazy when we see this. It drives us crazy when we see our fellow men walking around looking like they do not know how to wear a suit. And this is what we're here for. We're here to teach, we're here to mentor, we're here to guide you down the correct path and to get you where you're supposed to be when it comes to wearing a suit. So now, I want everybody to do me a big favor, big favor if you don't mind. I know I ask for a lot, always asking for a lot. Thank you. But anyway, I just turned 51 years old on the 7th of February. Almost forgot my birthday. And I've asked a lot of people to do a couple things for me. I've asked you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I've asked you to join my new website. Yes, I've created a new website. It's more user-friendly. It's easier to get around. We have a 3D hologram where you can design your own shoes online, so there's no more walking around with the same shoe on that everybody else has on, unless they have the same mind you have. So now you have the ability to create your own shoe. There's no longer talking to Michael and having me create it for you. You can create your own shoe. Yes, you still have the option to upload a photo to me of a shoe that you want, and my cobbler can create the shoe for you. But I'm giving you the keys to drive your car by you being able to go in and customize your own shoe. Yes, we have a 3D hologram allowing you to do so now. All right, so now, if you could do me a big favor, please subscribe to my video. There should be links on most of the screens that you're looking at now. Please join my website. I'll post the website up there. I don't want to go over the name. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to try to entertain a couple of comments or questions that we may have from the audience. And also, please, ladies and gentlemen, if you could share my videos, and if you are a company that would like to advertise on the videos, on my Facebook Live video, please let me know. Because right now we're averaging somewhere close to 3,000 views a week per video. So if you are a customer, you have a service that falls in line with what it is that we do, which is men's style, whether it be you make watches, you make cufflinks, you make neckties, you make you're a clothier. Yes, even if you're a clothier, I can't make everybody in this world a suit, and I know that everybody in the world is not going to buy a suit from me, so I'm not trying to hoard every person that comes on to buy a suit from me. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to do. So let me look at a couple more questions here. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Mr. James, what was his name? Mr. Palmer. S. James Palmer. Thanks for checking in. Chester Williams, thank you. Thank you. Okay, you're right, brother. Thank you as well, Newt. Major no, please remove tab ASAP. Yes, right. I'm bad with names, so forgive me. And who else? Does anybody else have a question for me? I know that I try to keep these videos short and sweet. Does anybody have a question pertaining to today's topic or anything that we spoke of over the last several weeks? Please post your question now. Nothing heard. Is there something else that you guys would like to see me do? If you look, also if you have a topic you want me to talk about, please inbox me or inbox me with your topic. and I'll research it if I don't already have the information, and I'll present it to you as well. No, nothing heard. And I'm sorry, I'm scanning back and forth because I'm looking at several different monitors here as usual. I was waiting for my other devices to come in, which has not come in yet, but that way I can move around a little bit more. But I'm stationary until it's delivered. Okay, now we got I got Mr. Robert Jordan checked in. I got Artiste Keith. I got Glitton. Mr. David Jenkins, thanks for checking in. I got a John According to the Skies, thanks for checking in. I got Mr. Charismatic, thank you for checking in. Also Monty Childred, Antonio Williams, Eric Bellamy, Ken Whitehurst, and Derek Baker. Thank you everybody for checking in. So Mr. Ron Brown, all the way from Korea, thanks for checking in, Ron Brown. I appreciate you checking in. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Michael Snell, Michael Snell Bespoke. I want to appreciate everybody for checking in, coming in and seeing what I have to talk about today. Please remember to share. I want to thank you guys for for sharing what it is that I do. Thank you for coming in and spending this 15 to 30 minutes with me on Sundays. And I thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Have a great day. Michael Snell Bespoke. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.